Hello, welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz and I'll be guiding you on this journey today. This is a reading for the 1-4 Human Design Profile, the Investigator Opportunist. If you don't know what your Human Design Profile is, there is a link in the description for you to get your Human Design Body Graph, and your profile, your profile will be listed on there. You don't need to know a ton about human design, obviously, other than your profile, for these messages to resonate. The intention is for them to be an additional source or an additional channel to receive a message, because not every 1-4 is a, Taurus or a Aquarius. So definitely be sure to check out your zodiac sign readings if you haven't already. Those are all available for your viewing pleasure. And we will set the intention, open the space, and, get you some cards and start talking about them. So, crown open, I anchor into the present and the truth within it. I welcome only what is clear, balanced, and aligned. All distortion, fear, and interference remain outside this space. May these messages travel through me to those who called for them, carrying honesty, clarity, and calm. All right. For our 1-4s, we have the 5 of Cups. Kind of interesting how that just fell out into the perfect place. So it kind of feels like this is I hate to say like a good time for grieving, but I just mean that because it kind of sounds like an oxymoron, really, but I just mean as far as timing goes. Let's see what else comes out with it, though. What else? How many cards is this? 3? Okay. We have the Death card, Page of Cups, 2 of Pentacles. The end of something. We'll take a look at the bottom of the deck here. There's actually, like, the first thing that went through my mind is it's time to stop fucking around. There's a message here about reestablishing balance. I keep hearing order in my head, but it's like, when a judge is hitting the gavel on the thing and they're calling out order, it's like, something having to do with chaos, right? Like something is out of control and the judge is trying to bring the control back, of course, to them, and like order in the court. Attention, a 10 hut, that type of thing. And it seems like the pathway to do that, like if you have been using play, which play is not a bad thing, but if you have been using it as a form of distraction and avoidance, that's kind of when it starts getting a little blurry. And especially if you are avoiding feeling your feelings. And of course, it can be anything. I don't know what it would be in your situation, whether it is, all of this is water over here, right? So it has something to do with something that is living in your emotional body, a perception that you have, a feeling that you have about yourself, about the situation, about the circumstance, the experience, a person. your life in general, like I'm just kind of trying to like cover all my bases here. And starting with the Five of Cups, which is literally about grieving, loss, depression, and that the death card is right behind it. If you, again, have been in a period where the undertone of like what is happening is grief, loss. However, though, right, like this Page of Cups, for whatever reason, is giving me this feeling of avoidance, or almost trying to put a positive spin on the feelings, because again, it's like it's a way to avoid the discomfort or to avoid those bigger feelings, and especially if it does have to do with grief. It's also too even a mindset shift, but it would have to do with like almost like your emotions pulling you out of that. And I mean, our brain body, our mind body connection, right? Like they influence each other. So even kind of digging in there and just kind of seeing like what what is happening in here, like how is one influencing the other? We can see on the Five of Cups here that they're focused on the three cups that have spilled. And I mean, I'm a huge proponent for grief. I think it is so fucking important to feel those feelings. I think a lot of people have a hard time feeling those feelings, and I also think a lot of people have a hard time holding space for people to feel those big feelings because they're uncomfortable. And it takes time to process, and it doesn't feel good sometimes going through that, looking at, things that haven't worked out, whatever it was, a relationship, an opportunity, your life in general. I've been there multiple times. And truly, like I said, like I feel like grief is such a huge part of that process. And like I was saying at the beginning, about timing, like the energy is available. You have the right information. You're kind of at this point where it's like you need to face whatever the Five of Cups is for you. You need to face that in order for the cycle, the behavior, the mindset to end. And I think it's also something that like you are aware of. I think it's also something that you want to change or let go of and release. And what is also really effing interesting is that this Death card is looking at the Five of Cups. I mean, this could very well have to do with losing a person, whether that is, that they passed away, or again, I mean, it could have been a relationship that ended. Honestly, it could be a culmination of things, just finding a cycle in connections with people, like maybe you attract the same type of wound in people type of thing. And it's like become part of your story, right? Like it's become part of like, oh, I always attract these people, or I'm attracted to these people, or, whatever the case may be. And stories can change, right? Like we are the ones that are in control of the narrative. We don't think that we are a lot of the times, but we are. And I think again, like you're at this point where you recognize what your story is. You recognize that that story can change and that you have control of the narrative, and have the capacity and even the desire to want to change that. Because again, like going back to this Five of Cups, there's still two cups behind them. So there's opportunity, connection. You know, it's like all is not lost. But if your focus is going to continue to be on these three cups, you won't see these two other cups. Like you won't even, it literally won't even show up on your radar at all. And two, again, right, like if part of your story is that you attract a specific type of wound in people, you won't even see the other type of people, right? Like, so again, like it's like the timing is such where you really can change your story, change your narrative. And once you do that, you won't even register that old wound anymore. Like those people won't have access to you. You may recognize it and just be like, nope, that's part of the last chapter or whatever, of my life. I'm writing another one, or I'm in a different era of my life, and again, it's not like you have to like do like a major expression of it, but it's like once you will start recognizing that signature energetically, and you can say, like that is triggering or activating something in me that I no longer want to engage with that type of energy. And you just don't, like you don't have to be rude. You don't have to be mean. It's also, boundaries, because boundaries are very much for you, not for other people, right? Like other people benefit from your lack of boundaries. And once we start putting boundaries in place and we start changing those boundaries based on our own growth, based on, recognizing where things are not working for us, or where also too we're being emotionally depleted, you'll notice that, the people who, again, like benefited from your lack of boundaries, they'll probably just end up falling off without you having to really do anything other than standing firm in your boundaries, like, just not giving access of yourself as fully or in the same way that you did, and just, again, like with the death card, every time the death card comes out, I always say every new beginning disguises itself as an end, but both, in order for one to happen, the other has to occur as well. Like you won't see the new beginning, you won't recognize the new beginning until the end of an era, a way of being, a thought process, the perception that you have, even your understanding and perception of your feelings. Because again, if you have thought about how you feel about things in general, right? If that changes, I totally lost my train of thought, and I thought that was like going to go somewhere. I mean, literally, it was like, okay, well, we're just going to trust that either it'll come back in a way that's more aligned, or it was just like, no. I literally feel like it was like plucked out of my brain. How strange. But crows too, like crows represent change. So, like crows could be, if you hear a crow, if you see a crow, it doesn't have to be like a real one. It can be. I see crows outside all the time. But, you could hear it, see it in a cartoon, in a movie. I don't know why cartoons, like, I literally thought of Rick and Morty. And the Two Crows episode. I mean, maybe there's a message in there if you watch Rick and Morty. Maybe there's a message in there. I also love that, like as I'm sitting here looking at these cards, I love that the Page of Cups is on the other side of the Death card. Because, I mean, truly, right? I mean, look at the difference in the energies of the Five of Cups and the Page of Cups. This is like that release here, because we can see that there's, to me, it looks like there's smoke or something like coming out of the bowl that this person is holding. We don't even know, like, because this person has long hair. It could be the same person, right? But it's like the cloak is off. They're holding a cup. There's a mermaid out here. And the Page of Cups is all about imagination and play. And, like I said at the beginning, if we're using play and even imagination too, in a way where it was avoidant, or what is the distorted. Like, personally, and I'm not, I'm not saying that this is what's happening for you. I'm just saying this has been something that has been at the forefront of my mind in the last like month or so. I've been reading about OCD, because first of all, I didn't realize that there are so many different types of OCD. And also I'm like, man, why am I thinking the way that I'm thinking, and like ruminating and fearful and doubtful and insecure and blah, 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 but it's like extreme. And I bought a couple books on it, which I'm not going to lie, I haven't really read yet, but, like just watching videos on TikTok. And of course, I feel like with anything like that, like, you have to be discerning and use your own judgment. And, I'm not trying to necessarily like self-diagnose myself, but it is like one of those things of just trying to understand what the hell is like going on. And also like, what do I do about it? More importantly, right? So, there is like this energy here of like trying to like figure that out. But also I feel like there is something that like it's already in your orbit of awareness. And maybe it's something too that just kind of keeps cycling around, that just keeps coming back. And there is an opportunity here for you to feel that, grieve it, it like accept the way that you feel about it. If you're disappointed, accept that you are disappointed and feel fucking disappointed about it. If you're sad, if you lost someone, if you lost something, if you, whatever, feel that. Allow yourself to process through the fact that you experienced a loss, like how you feel about that. Not how you think. So we have no cards out here that have anything to do with mindset and the way that like the story that is living in your mind about it. Yeah, but like I said, I know I was saying before, like the mind and body, they talk to each other. But, it's usually like our feelings tend to influence, right? Like our mindset and vice versa. So getting that out. And it's not like, this has to be like a super duper long and drawn out, like process. It really is something for you to go through at your own pace. But it's also like very necessary to restore or create a sense of balance. Even like to organize those things. Like I was saying with, I kept hearing order, but like in the sense of like a judge calling out order in the court, that type of thing. Because, they're carrying this pentacle in their hand. They have this other pentacle under their arm. And it's more usually with the Two of Pentacles, they're juggling the Two Pentacles, and this to me feels like more organized. Instead of things just floating around and almost kind of hitting you at random times, because there is no control, there is no awareness, there's no handle on it, you know, and then maybe it just kind of knocks you out, or it just kind of throws you off balance, or, you know, whatever. With the Two of Pentacles being out here, and that is literally the card of balance. Also, it talks about balancing responsibilities. Like, this is a card of the like hashtag adulting thing. You know, just recognizing multiple responsibilities in your life, like just different areas of your life you have to be aware of and, again, in control of. You know, Pentacles do have to do with our money, our physical energy, our time. Where are we investing our time? How are we physically showing up in our lives? Money, how are we getting it? How are we saving it? It's our health and our physical body. All those things that we are responsible for as adults, right? And again, you know, the Two of Pentacles talks about balancing those things out. I love that they're also taking steps here. This to me feels like steps forward. There's this release that's happening. So there's the Five of Cups being in the grief, the Death card that basically says that that cycle or being in that energy is coming to an end, just timing wise. You're ready. The Page of Cups is almost like the sun coming back out, feeling creative again, you know, like feeling energetic. Also, too, like freeing up that emotional chokehold that something has had on you. And then with the Two of Pentacles, being able to take steps forward, feeling more balanced, feeling more in control. And let's look at the bottom of the deck. We have the Six of Cups, yeah. The Nine of Swords. This is definitely like moving through I want to write this down. I've been trying to get better at titles. I don't know. I don't feel like I've gotten the title quite right yet. I just wrote some things down. But the Six of Cups is literally the card of the past. It's nostalgia, looking back, reminiscing, ruminating. I love that. And also, actually, before I go there, the Six of Cups is also inner child. It's also like described as acts of kindness, reparenting. You know, it's like, it's one of those things of becoming the person you needed when you were a kid type of thing. I love that in this card, these people are walking away from the Six of Cups. I love too that we go from the Five of Cups to the Six of Cups. So in the Five of Cups, they're actively grieving. In the Six of Cups, they're walking away. There could be another person, whether that's a therapist, a friend, a family member, a peer, whatever, that helps you process that or helps you recognize the need to move forward. And they're holding the Ace of Cups there. The Ace of Cups is what the Page of Cups is holding as well. The Nine of Swords being behind it is fear, anxiety, doubt. This is the mindset portion. This is, like the ego, the stories that live in our mind, the stories that we've attached to experiences, to this grief. And that's what becomes our belief system. It becomes the reasons why we do things and why we don't do other things. It becomes, the reasons why we perceive our realities the way that we do. It's also the reason why we attract the wound in people that we attract. This, again, can be, like I was saying before, I don't want to like completely repeat myself because I feel like I do that a lot. But like, I was saying that, once you heal that, or you grieve that part of you that energetically recognizes that, it's like trauma bonding, right? Like a part of you recognizes that wound in somebody else. And when we start to heal that, our relationships do change. People do fall off for whatever reason. It doesn't have to be a big knockdown, blowout, whatever, but it does change. And you start recognizing that wound in people. And again, right, like just not allowing access of yourself to that. And it's changing your frequency or your emotional availability to people who are working on themselves, right? Or who have a healthy attachment styles and, right, like that type of thing. So that could even be what's happening here on the Six of Cups. But, the Nine of Swords is also, nines are individual completion. So a way of thinking, a perception that you have, a belief system that you have would be coming to an end. And, there's this big bear here, which can be an animal guide for you. It could be, like an emotional support type of, animal. It could just be too that it's like, this is the elephant that's in the room. It's just represented as a bear. There's a big thing that maybe you have been avoiding and you're not going to do that anymore. And there's also this snake that's wrapped around her arm and like hissing in her ear. And that to me, again, is like the self-sabotage. That's that story that just keeps repeating. Like Brene Brown calls them gremlins. It could be shame. It could be guilt, embarrassment, like whatever that is, right? Like, and again, that could be the big thing that is underlying all of this whole process. And it's finally like you're facing that within yourself and being like, what the fuck is your problem? Like, what is your story? And is that true anymore? Right? Like, this is like a conversation that you're having with yourself, with your emotional body, with your mindset, right? With that story. Like, okay, what is this story that keeps fucking me up? That's telling me I don't deserve whatever. That's holding me back, that self-sabotages. What is this story? Right? Like, you hear the story, maybe journal about it, and then you ask yourself, is this true? Like, is this something I actually believe about myself today, right now? 9.5 times out of 10, it's a no. And then once you're like, I actually don't have that belief about myself, I do not accept that as truth, Then you can journal and you can, think about what is true. What is true for you now? What do you want the truth for you to be in the future? And also, what actions are you going to change? Like, what behaviors are you going to change in order to align with that truth? And again, it's not perfect. It's not just, boom, you're a changed person. It takes awareness and constant decision making to change those habits. But I think you want to. We have the 10 of Cups behind that, which is, it's the minor arcana card to the sun card. It's everything good, joy, bliss. You feel purposeful. You feel fulfilled. You find community and connection, family that is in alignment with you, and you are in alignment with them. Queen of Swords. Again, I just said it takes a constant awareness and decision making. And also, like, the Queen of Swords is just gonna like cut out any bullshit. Like, anytime that story comes back up, that gremlin gets loud, you can just say, I recognize you, I see you, but my truth is different now. Like, that is not the truth of the situation. That is not my current truth. That's not the truth I'm bringing forward. Beautiful. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. And I close this space with gratitude and ease. All energies are released, returning to their rightful paths, and may what was received be integrated with clarity and peace. Bye.